Welcome back. All right, so another news video before I get into other things for today. I'm not doing a Canucks video yet. I had the thought of maybe doing a Canucks video today, and I thought, no, we'll wait and see what happens after July the 1st. That's when I get into doing videos on all the teams anyways, so I will talk about Vancouver at that point. They're on the board. We were out for a while today. Gabriel graduated high school, so congratulations to him and all that. And I wasn't even wearing a hat. I might be the only person on planet Earth that if I want to go incognito, just don't wear a hat. So, is that the hockey guy? Can't be. No hat. So, Riley Smith has signed an extension with the Vegas Golden Knights. 1 year, $2 million. So, nice cap hit there. Riley Smith, not the player that he was back in 2018, but how many of us are? And yeah, I think that's a good contract for Vegas. Good on him. Riley Smith sticking around. So the Board of Governors, the meetings today, and basically what's come out of this is, first off, there's no rule changes. So if you're looking for any kind of rule changes in the NHL, there's nothing coming down the pike. But we knew that anyways from the GM meetings, because usually if there's going to be rule changes, that comes out of the GM meetings, and we had nothing to talk about from that. There's been no vote on the collective bargaining agreement, but it sounds like they're working really hard to get this done. So it did not happen before the Stanley Cup final. It did not happen before the Board of Governors meeting, but it is definitely being worked on. There are just still a few issues that they are discussing. And then once that CBA has been signed, we can go through it and look at it. Because what's more exciting than looking at a collective bargaining agreement? Yeah, that's more exciting. That's true. Yep. All right. Yep. So you guys have brought up some really good points. Congratulations. Expansion talk, which has led to some reaction from hockey fans. We know it's going to happen. We can all complain, and I agree. 32 teams is perfect, but the only reason I report on it the way I do is because I know it's coming. So basically, the interested parties were informed on what the costs are going to look like. Atlanta's in the room. Houston's apparently involved as well. There's been still talk about Arizona, as much as people don't want to hear it. The reality is the NHL's looking at these markets, and there are people with money who are willing to spend that money in order to bring the NHL there. So when people say Quebec City, the question becomes, so which person from Quebec City has been actively meeting with the NHL recently? I haven't seen anything about Quebec City meeting with the National Hockey League, anybody from Quebec or otherwise. And so that's what you need. You have to have billions of dollars that are just burning a hole in your pocket, and a lot of people don't have that. I know I don't. Not in these pants anyways. Might be in my other pants. The Preds, their sale goes through. Nothing alarming about this. Goes through to Bill Haslam. He has 65% ownership now of the team. Talked about that in a news video a couple of months ago. So not a lot of exciting news out of this, but stuff that could lead to something down the road. The collective bargaining agreement, and of course the inevitable expansion, and whether it's at the end of the decade or when it's going to happen, we will see 34 teams in the National Hockey League, I would think sooner rather than later. 17 in each conference. I have discussed going without a conference, just having 34 teams and having a somewhat balanced schedule, but yeah, anyways, that would then change the whole playoff format as well. So anyways, yeah, some stuff out of the Board of Governors that we can all discuss as fans, but nothing really concrete at this point to complain about. The Florida Panthers are bound and determined. They are bound and determined to keep everybody. It gets a lot easier when you're winning all the time. So they're working to keep Marchand, Bennett, and Ekblad. They have $19 million in cap space. They're going to have to make sure that they get other players as well. They may have to move somebody out to make room for all these contracts. It sounds like Bennett is the closest to being done. Not as done as he made it sound at the partying that was going on, but it definitely sounds like there's going to be an extension for Bennett. Marchand they're working on, and then Ekblad. Looks like they're going to work on keeping all of them, and we'll find out July the 1st whether or not they keep them all. Keep in mind that if one of them goes to market, it doesn't mean they're leaving Florida. It just means that the contract hasn't been done by July the 1st. So the Boston Bruins are going back to these. Now, the bear here on the shoulder is gone. The bear that they used for the Centennial, which was a throwback to the original bear logo from the team back in the 1920s. They've got that on the left shoulder now. The reveal video is nice. It's a nice video with Cam Neely and Michael J. Fox. So kind of fun. They did kind of a Back to the Future thing with it. Charlie McAvoy came in with makeup that was to make him look old because he was coming back from the future with a Bruins jersey for Michael J. Fox. I'm still waiting for mine. I haven't seen elderly Charlie McAvoy at my door. So, anyways, not insulted or anything. I'm just kidding. But I'm glad that I have all these Bruins jerseys. I've already got a hilarious idea for a video when these are released from Fanatics, because obviously I'm going to want a home and away of the brand new Boston. But the brand new black Boston jersey is basically the Centennial, just with the bear on the shoulder instead of on the chest. And the white one is very much like this, minor differences. And when I say it's almost the same, people will be in the comments, well, it's not the same because this line is a little larger and this one's a little sharper. But to a casual fan, they look the same. So that's all I'm saying is that to casual fans, it looks pretty much identical. And this is a look that people like for Boston. I agree. I like the other look as well. I'm glad I have those jerseys too. And of course, they can always do throwbacks to the new one that will be newer than the one they're throwing back to, which is now the future for the. You get into, yeah, I can understand the Back to the Future bit because it does kind of feel like there's some paradoxes going on. One thing that occurred to me too was I remember I did a video like 7 years ago, where I talked about what I would like to see teams do for a third jersey, and most of the stuff that I was advocating for was throwbacks. And because nostalgia sells. And since then, a lot of them we've seen because nostalgia sells. It doesn't mean I knew anything, just because I don't. But you guys can write that down. But it just means that I understand that nostalgia sells. People will buy things that, hey, that reminds me of my childhood kind of thing. And so this Boston jersey, especially with Happy Gilmore 2 coming out this summer, makes sense to go back to that look. It's a happy coincidence, I'm sure. So I wanted to clarify a little bit of something when it comes to the Evander Kane trade. And I know I talked about this in the trade, but I wanted to talk about my issue with it. There's two. First off, my main issue with it is the cap hit. And I say that not because I think it's a ripoff. I understand it's only one more year. I do not look at this Vancouver roster that's losing Besser, that is losing Suter as well, and say, okay, this is a team that's going to make the playoffs. Now, the good news, too, for the Canucks, it's not on the board, but apparently we could see an extension for Demko before the end of this week. They're working on an extension for Thatcher Demko, so they'll have Lankinen and Demko signed for long-term. It means Archer Shilovs probably ends up moving on. I would be sad, but I would be happy for Shilovs to get that opportunity somewhere to have that success. Now, a quote from Patrick Alvin, which the Canucks sent out on social media, kind of just, this is my other issue outside of the cap hit. He said, we felt we had a chance to upgrade our top 9, mid-6, and become a harder team to play against. I don't know that this is actually an upgrade when you consider they're losing Besser and Suter and bringing in Kane. Now, they can do something else on July the 1st. That's why I'm not going to do a video specifically on the Canucks lineup till we get past free agency. But I don't look at the Vancouver Canucks right now and say this is a team that is definitely making the playoffs next year. There's so many ifs. There's so many things that have to fall their way for them to end up back above the playoff line. I would rather that for this season, they get cap space. They use that cap space to acquire future assets, prospects, draft picks, really stock up on young players, let guys who played in Abbotsford and just won the Calder Cup come up and play for Vancouver like Washington did this season with guys from Hershey. Worked really well for the Washington Capitals. I think it could work really well for the Vancouver Canucks. And if you're going to start adding more veterans, and especially, veterans with a cap hit of $5+ million, that's taking spots away from those guys, and it's telling me that management feels like they're not that far off. Well, we're not that far off, and I think they are. I think Vancouver needs to, and considering Gavin McKenna is in this draft, it's an issue I have where it feels like they're trying to stay good rather than build a championship team, and I'd like to see them try to build a championship team because I think that would be fun. As much fun as I'm having with Abbotsford right now, and I'm very happy with Abbotsford, and we're going to the Abbotsford Arena again tomorrow. We were there today for for Gabriel's graduation. We were there for Who's Live Anyway, which was the tour for Whose Line Is It Anyway, as well as playoff games. Like, basically at this point, they might start charging me rent. But I want to see the Canucks build it right. This is the issue I've been having. And so when I see Kane coming in, we can talk about character issues. Sure, fine. I know everybody's talking about always. He's a character guy and he's turned things around. Good, fine. He can have all the kumbaya moments. I want Vancouver to build this right. And it just feels like that's been the issue. That's been the issue for about 50 plus years now. I'm not wearing a watch either. So that's my view. We'll see what happens. Again, we'll have until, free agency comes and goes. We'll see who stays, who goes, and what the cap hits look like for everybody. And then we can start getting into, lineups. And that's the fun thing. And then when I'm all done all that, then we get into the official season previews in August. So there you go. All right, the PWHL handed out some awards today. The MVP and Forward of the Year, not really a surprise here. Their top goal scorer, Marie-Philippe Poulin of the Montreal Victoire. She wins there, so congratulations to her. The Defender of the Year, Renata Fast of the Toronto Scepters. Goaltender of the Year, that goes to Anne-Renee Desbiens of the Montreal Canadiens. The Rookie of the Year, Sarah Fillier of the New York Sirens. Not a surprise either. And Coach of the Year, Corey Chevery of the Montreal Victoire. So PWHL, they had their draft yesterday. They hand out their awards today. Things are going pretty well. They've got 8 teams. I'm excited about Vancouver and the PWHL because, they've got a pretty strong roster and are seen as a potential favorite to win in their first year in the league. They've built a strong enough roster that they absolutely could be the best team in the league and could win the Walter Cup next year. So we shall see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.